It's sports and weather, high-speed chases and homicide.
And some developing news, St. Louis police investigating 3 homicides that happened within hours of each other on Tuesday.
The first deadly shooting happened around 3 p.m. in the 2900 block of Herbert. The second, less than 4 hours later, that was in the 5100 block of Goodfellow. And the third in the 4900 block of Emerson. In the first case, the 29-year-old man found with a gunshot wound to his head. He later died at a hospital.
Kiwi in the
next deadly shooting on Goodfellow claimed the life of a man
inside
his
show tonight. We are starting our mental health. We have our co-host, Miss Mink. And we also have another guest that will be joining us as well. And we will let her introduce herself and give us a little bit about her in a minute. How y'all doing on this evening?
Yes, doing pretty good, Miss Kiwi. How you doing tonight?
I'm okay. I'm blessed. I can't complain.
That is amazing. I'm excited about getting this started around our mental health topic, and our guest that we have on tonight, as you stated, we're going to let her introduce herself. She's going to bring us some great information and great wisdom, knowledge. I'm excited because this is a topic that is much needed to be spread in our communities. We need to talk about it. We need to start focusing more on it. There are so many people that's in the world now that's suffering with mental illness, and nobody is paying that much attention to it. Nobody's paying that much attention to it.
Yeah, that's true. And I can honestly say we as Black people, we definitely sweep it up under the rug. We feel like, why I'm going to go talk to a psychiatrist or you know, a therapist, or, you know, just tell somebody my business. But, you know, they'll find that if they do, it'll be, you know, helpful. It'll be helpful.
Yes. Yes. You are so right. Yes. So, you know, I'll just kind of get us started with our topic on tonight. As Ms. Kiwi has stated, we are talking about break the stigma, bringing awareness on that mental health breakdown. You know, we need to be aware, as I stated before, and especially because the greatest impact are on our seniors and our youth. And as our vision and mission statement is, we want to bridge that gap between the youth and our season. It is time for us to take our children back, but we don't want to lose them to everything it is that we're losing them to now. And a lot of it is mental health driven. So we are going to get some great nuggets tonight. I want you to strap on your seat belts and you get ready, because she's going to bring some good stuff. Miss Kiwi, do you have something to say before we jump in?
I actually do. If you all are listening, if you would like to call in, if you have questions, the number is 515-599-1687. This is a good topic, and it's for everybody. Don't ever feel like this is not for you. It's for everybody. We all deal with some type of mental on a daily. So let's just come on, tune in. And if you have questions, we are here to answer them. We have a therapist here, and I'm sure she don't mind answering questions. So call in, 515-599-1687. Let's get this started.
All right. So we're excited to have her on. I'm going to bring her up and let her just introduce herself.
All right. Hello, St. Louis. I am so honored, so proud. I am a St. Louis native myself. Being raised in that concrete jungle, I know all about mental health, as me and my family all went through. We went through in the 80s and the 90s, through the crack pandemic, through everything on those streets in St. Louis. So that led me to become a mental health therapist. I saw my people struggling. You know, there's nothing wrong with our people. Something happened to our people.
All right, now
we're trying to get ourselves back on the map of forgiveness and mental health.
All right.
So my name is Jan Abbott. I run a mental health practice in St. Louis, Missouri. In Atlanta, Georgia. And I've been in this practice now probably almost 20 years. I've seen every facet of mental health from every race. And I have a wealth of knowledge, and hopefully some of the words that leave my lips tonight will touch some of y'all's ears and start the journey of healing.
Yes. We're excited. We most definitely are, because it's as I stated, this is actually a pandemic. It's a pandemic. Mental health, they stated that the pandemic, which we all can relate to that, helped entice it. It was something that was before it though, but it helped to entice it. But it's a pandemic in itself. So, Miss Jan, get us started on some background around mental illness.
All right. So as we all know, mental health started way back before it had a name. And Jane Addams, a social worker from back in the day when we started going to war and bringing back all these sick vets and with these people with these illnesses that people couldn't recognize and didn't know what to do with these people. So Jane Addams used to go from door to door, from city to city, working with Vietnam vets and all of these vets. And it just kind of spread around as they started to notice, hey, well, this person hasn't been to the military or any armed forces and they have similar symptoms. What can we do about them? And, social work sprang out of that. And, even though they tried to help with mental health, they was more on helping you get back on your feet, get a hold to the resources you need, get you out to the doctors. And then mental health started to come along when they started to notice the testing, the questions that was asked that people did not have normal answers to. I'm not able to go to work and take care of the kids. I'm not able to get out of bed. I'm not able to do, normal everyday things. So mental health sprung out, and then the therapy profession kicked in. And I would like to say that I left social work to come over to the mental health side, because after working with my people and noticing that, the struggle was real. However, some of our people weren't just struggling for resources. They were struggling to maintain resources because they could not maintain their mental health. Mm-hmm. So I jumped ship and I came over to the mental health side because, like I said, I saw a lot of this in my own family and I didn't understand it. And I was curious. And I felt some of the symptoms that, I was reading in the books and I was hearing people talk about. So, I went to a therapist back then. They were all, older, 50, 60-year-old white women. They couldn't really understand our plight. And I was like, you know what? We need some sisters and some brothers in this.
All right now.
Somebody that we can all relate to, who done been through that struggle, who done been on these streets trying to survive. So I went to school for it. And I do know that if a person is willing to just speak the first words about not feeling themselves, or if they've ever known what normal, quote unquote, even feels like, you can step to somebody. Mm-hmm. You can talk to somebody. The resources out here now are vast, but they're not being used, and definitely not in our community. We are afraid because, due to slavery and Jim Crow and all the oppressions that we've gone through, our people have always been scared of doctors. Mm-hmm. Right? So now I say, hey, there's a bunch of us out here that look like us, that know exactly what goes on in our homes and in our communities. And we have a different spin on it, right? We know how to utilize every facet of our struggle to help you guys. I tell you, I prayed and I prayed and I prayed the last 3 years. I said, I'm so tired of saving every other race but my own.
Oh, yes.
I please start getting Black clients, in particular Black males. I just screamed it out one night on my porch. I was barbecuing, listening to music.
All right,
and I said, I'm ready to save some Black men.
He heard you. He heard you now. He heard you.
And what did I say that for? Because it's like the floodgates open.
All right now.
All I've been seeing for the last 3 years is Black men, and Black men bringing their women to couples counseling.
Okay.
I'm so proud of us, y'all. So we're breaking the silence. We're no longer trying to sweep things under the rug. So some of these brothers is straight goons to the street, if y'all know what I mean.
Yes, exactly.
They come to me, they talk to me, they get some healing, and they heal their life, they heal their family line. They break the generational curses of mental health that we in our community never really spoke on. Just don't go over there over Uncle Jimmy's house by yourself, baby. He's special.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That
we always had a title or something for it.
Yeah. So we never was want to put our business in the street. So we were taught that that was putting your business in the street, right?
Yeah.
Well, I am a paid vote in this community. I can lose all 7 years of my college for speaking one word of your information outside of that therapy room. Even if you choose to bring a family member or your wife or girlfriend in, I still can't speak anything that you and I talked about before they came, unless you said, "Hey, Jan, you remember that day I told you about YZYZ?
Right,
Tell her about my struggle, what I'm going through, and how she can assist me by, doing this or doing that." But we can't tell anybody anything. You could close my company down. My $3 million worth of insurance will be yours if I tell your business. So people, we can come in here. We can get some help. And there's some simple everyday tools that we was already using in the community that we didn't know was mental health that we can apply to our everyday lives. So y'all, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. Let's get this mental health thing going, right?
Yes. So, Miss Kiwi, do you have any questions from Miss Jan?
Basically, I just wanted to ask if there was somebody who was going through that, or it was a family member. A lot of times, they be embarrassed or they don't want to talk about it. What would you say to them, to make them, or, well, not necessarily make them, let me reword that, because you can't make anybody do anything, but, that would try to, build their self-esteem or encourage them to want to, seek some help, talk to somebody, because a lot of people walk around and they hold so much inside of them and not understanding that depression, stress, all of that is a part of mental,
Oh, yeah. I would like to say that it's never been a better day or century to be a mental health therapist than it is right now. There's so many different ways to do mental health therapy now. You don't have to look me dead in my face and tell me, my father touched me, my brother touched me. I watched my father or uncles or somebody beat on me or my mother. You can do it now through virtual. You don't have to have your camera on. After you introduce yourself to me and I make sure it's you, you can turn that camera off, or you can say, "Jan, check this out. I'm going to come on camera, but I don't even want to talk. I want to type this in the chat box. And I want you to type what you think." It's so many ways. I could talk to you on the telephone now. They've opened up the wavelengths because the federal government figured out lack of access to service is causing a lot of these problems. But also some people are so ashamed, like you said, and so embarrassed. They don't want you to look at them while they say some of the things.
Exactly.
It's so funny. I had a whole group of prostitutes come to me at one time, ranging from age 15 to 60-something years old.
Wow.
And some of them did not want me to see their face. Honey, we did therapy through text, through phone, through virtual. You don't have to come into no office no more for therapy. I do therapy like this from my house every single day, virtually. You can speak of anything without showing your face until you feel empowered enough, encouraged enough to start showing your face. And if you don't, you still can get this knowledge. You still can get these skills.
Right. All right.
Still can get these skills, right? So I know that culture. So there's so many different ways that you can do this. Literally, you can get behind a keyboard and talk about your whole life, and nobody ever sees your face. So the services are there. The access is there through any means.
So Miss Jen, okay, go ahead, Miss.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just finna ask her, by her being in Georgia, just say if someone wanted to, wanted you to become their therapist out of St. Louis, is that possible, or they have to find someone in St. Louis?
Well, it used to be that they would all have to find someone in St. Louis, but my unique spin on my business is Abbott's Counseling and Life Coach Solutions. So if I can't see you as a therapist, I use that life coach title to be able to see you. But a more wonderful thing that the Pentagon is doing right now that I think is phenomenal is they're doing what's called a 10-state compact, because COVID happened and families are all over the world, especially military families. I'm from St. Louis. I'm deployed to Hawaii. I can't see my therapist because I'm from St. Louis. Well, they're getting these states to sign these treaties that we can see y'all across state lines and across country lines.
All right now.
And Georgia was the ground zero for that. So we kicked off the law. Now we're just waiting on states to sign on. But again, for me, I have a dual title. I can be a life coach, which in all aspects of the word is still therapy. I just cannot bill your health insurance in St. Louis, Missouri. Now we can work something up where we do very small payments. I've contributed my life to the cause for my people. I charge my people half price.
Okay.
I do sliding scale. I do pro bono work. I'm not trying to break nobody's pockets because I know this is more than money when it comes to our people.
All right now. All right now.
Yes, yes,
All right
yes,
now.
yes. Well, I was getting ready to. So, Jan, can you kind of break down, because I think it's very important that we bring awareness with education. A lot of people don't understand what mental health is. A lot of people don't understand it. That's the reason why it is that they shy away from it.
Oh yeah, I can go with an old saying that they used to say back in the day. Don't you go up there and tell them people your business. They're gonna lock you up in that hospital and they ain't gonna let you out.
Okay.
Right?
Oh.
So this is what I say. Mental health, people think either you're crazy or you're not. I'm gonna say it like this: if you don't go to mental health therapy, you can go crazy.
Exactly.
You know
All right now.
Mental health is anything that knocks you off your game.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel like if you're off your game, you may need to talk to somebody. When you realize that you used to be up going to work, getting it every day, and now you feel like, oh my God, it's take everything in me to drag myself out of this bed. I don't want to. You're struggling with something, right? Or if every time somebody says something to you, or you're having a debate, a healthy conflict, and you still thinking about that stuff 2 and 3 days later, you need to talk to somebody. That's called overwhelming emotions. You're not able to process conflict and confrontation and debate and compromise, So if your feelings are easily hurt, just as simple as that, you need to talk to somebody.
Okay.
If you need to confront people and you're scared to do it about something they've done to you, something they're doing to you, or something you really need, and you are too afraid to ever ask people for what you want and what you need, or tell them what you got to say, you need to talk to somebody. If you find yourself mad, popping off every time somebody says something to you, something as simple as that's my seat, you want to rah, you need to talk to somebody. Right?
Okay.
If you feel like, you got to check in your boyfriend's phone, call him every 20 minutes, ask him where he was last night, don't believe nothing he say, you need to talk to somebody.
Yes, you do. All right now. All right.
You know what I'm saying? If you feel like you have a couple of baby daddies and the oldest child look just like his daddy, and I love my baby, the youngest, because I'm still with their daddy, you need to talk to somebody.
Right.
Come on, break it down for him now. Break it down for him.
You need to talk to somebody, right? You have the situations where, okay, you and the baby daddy is not together no more. You won't let him get his baby because you don't like him. You need to talk to somebody.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? If he won't give you money for you and the baby, and you won't let him see him because of that,
you need to talk to somebody. Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? And if you feel the need, if you're a man, to sleep around with multiple women,
you need to go talk to somebody. Yeah.
You need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you feel like, you a man and you can't do certain things that your woman need you to do, like monetary, around the house, taking care of the kids, cooking, you need to talk to somebody. You've been talking with the wrong set of dudes, and they gave you the wrong information.
Right
and you running straight to a child support court because can't nobody do that by themselves no more. You need to go talk to somebody. Mental health is anything that knocks you off your game.
Okay. All right. Absolutely. Now, y'all heard that. Anything that knocks you off of your game is mental health. Call in 515-599-1687. We have some good knowledge. And, hey, y'all better tune in if y'all haven't. Why not say it?
That's right. Absolutely. So I have a few more questions. So when it comes to mental health, becoming mentally aware for, say, for instance, that family member that's dealing with someone that is dealing with mental health, like you mentioned before, that you had that experience in your family. I've had it and touched home, and I can say myself, I've been one of those ones that was illiterate, that pushed it up under the rug as well. Didn't want to face the fact that this is something that we are dealing with, calling the kid bad, or you rebelling, or something of that nature, but not paying attention to the signs. So how can that family member deal? Because I feel that if we get educated, we'll be able to deal more with our people that is dealing with it?
That is a wonderful question, Michelle. What I like to do, and it's because I now consider myself a veteran of mental health. If one person in the family has a problem, the family
has a problem.
Has a problem. So anytime you think your child is rebellious, your husband or wife is angry, somebody is being spiteful, the family has a problem. We need to go talk to somebody. And because I'm a veteran, I utilize family therapy for psychoeducation. Psychoeducation is a form of therapy for families, couples, extended families, school teachers, whomever. I've sat on school panels talking with principals and counselors and teachers, because then we know if our child is in the school system, then we have a systems problem. So everybody that touches that person who's having that problem has to be educated. But it starts with opening your mouth and talking to somebody and tell them, I think my child may be a little more than rebellious. Right? And how do you know when your child is right? How do you know your child has moved past rebellion? Right? Strange rebellion.
Right.
Once you start to notice that the rebellion has gotten a little odd, like your child wants to stand toe to toe to you and yell in your face and talk to you like you didn't raise them better. That's strange rebellion. Right? If your daughter wants to push you or push past you, it's starting to move to strange rebellion. You need to talk to somebody. This child has an anger management problem. You don't know if that child mad at you for leaving their daddy, mad at you for leaving their mama, mad at you for leaving the state that you raised them in, mad at you for moving them to a new neighborhood, to a new school. All of this can trigger a mental health episode that our kids cannot or may not ever recover from without intervention. So anything that you recognize that you didn't do as a child, your siblings didn't do as a child, or that you feel like that is in any way abnormal. A child that continues to sneak out of the house at night. That's strange rebellion, because for one, at your age, you should be a little scared to be outside after hours knowing you're going to kill your butt when she catches you.
Right, exactly.
Right, so that's strange rebellion. Are you falling victim to peer pressure? That is a form of mental health, because most kids will tell you right now, I'm not going outside. My mama ain't kicking my butt.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So if they sneaking out, that's strange rebellion. Right? If your child is walking around the house stealing food, no matter what you do, that's strange rebellion. Start to notice things that fall outside of the things that even you did as a kid, or your husband or wife tell you, I didn't do that. We didn't do that in my house growing up. This is strange rebellion, right? Strange behaviors, strange conversations they want to start having that's outside of the norm. You was a child once. You had friends when you was a child. If it's stuff that you don't recognize, that's strange rebellion. That's mental health.
So what impact do you feel that mental health has on society?
It has completely turned society upside down.
Yes, it has.
And I will say it like this, because so many powerful people, celebrities,
come on, talk about it.
Are rich and mentally ill. They're normalizing mental illness to our children, so they feel like their behaviors are normal because they're listening to people on TV, people in power. These people are sick. These people are not well. And that's why the music industry pushes their music in our community, because they know how to make us unwell through the music.
Through that's another spirit.
Other races of children are not exposed to the stuff that our children are being exposed to. Again, system problem. This is still a systematically racist country that pushes these sicknesses on our kids. Anytime you hear a rapper say, I'm smoking lean, smoking weed, and doing pills, that's abnormal rebellion. And your children are intaking this. So I say society is upside down.
It is. It is. Because you have you got so many different things that's coming their way. And when you get out in the streets, it's a lot of peer pressure. And if our parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, and cousins are not making our children aware before they hit the streets, then they throwing them out there blindsided, and the streets right there to scoop them on up, because that's what they looking for. They that's a prey to them, and it's sad. It's real sad.
But I will say this, we have to get our communities together. If you look at any other community, you will notice things like TV time, computer time, cell phone time is charted down to 1 hour, 2 hours a day. They're
Mm-hmm.
not allowed to go in certain areas. They're not allowed to go to certain schools. I know we have a tougher time because they have us locked in these jungles, but we can start teaching them from a young age. You got reading time, you got bedtime, you
Yes,
got TV
yes.
time, you got dinner time, you got outside time, and start limiting their exposure to
Yes,
things. So by the time they get a certain age and they step out there and they see that, they already recognize that as abnormal,
that's
Yes,
right.
that's right.
strange, rebellion.
Can
Yep,
you
yep.
can you just repeat that one more time for our listeners and our viewers? The point that you made of getting back to the reading, the time for dinner, the playtime outside. Can you just reiterate on that a little bit? Because I just feel like our parents, grandparents, a lot, everybody have gotten away from that. And what they don't understand is it was a reason why kids needed to get outside to play, because of, they need to learn about the outside, the trees, the grass. Everything serves a purpose, and our children is not interested in none of that, because soon as they get through with that homework, they giving them tablets and them phones, and that's all they do all day long. And the parents is going on doing something else, and they don't understand. Your child is not bad. Your child is only going through what they're going through because you're not giving them that attention that they need. You're not setting that time aside to talk to them about them, And I feel like a lot of that plays a part in that mental.
Yeah.
And this what it all goes back to: when one person has a problem, the family has a problem. Most of these parents that do this, they are mentally ill.
Yes.
They don't have the capacity to raise their children. They need therapy to get what they've lost. So now they're satiating and using self-destructive coping skills to get through their own day, and they need to push their children off on something else so they don't have to deal.
That's right.
Yes.
You are
Our
smart.
parents,
Not
our
to
parents-
interfere, but I would just like to welcome our guest that came into the studio. Everybody knows her, but I'll let her introduce herself again.
Okay.
Dana Dane. Hi, everybody.
All right.
Hi,
Thank you
Miss
for
Dana.
coming. And of course,
for
we're
being
doing the break. We're doing the break. Break the stigma, and we have our therapist, Mrs. What's your name again, Miss Jan in, and she's been giving us some good knowledge. So once again, if y'all want to get in on this conversation, call in 515-599-1687. This is very, very good. It's bringing a lot of aware to people that may not know or even have that to try to even find out the information, or might even be embarrassed. But whatever the case is, we have to stop being embarrassed about this, because as we see, this is not getting any better. It's getting worse. So it's going to take all of us to bring this awareness. So tune in, call in. Back to you, Miss Jan or Miss Mink.
So Dana, thank you for joining us this evening. As Miss Kiwi stated, we have been talking with Jan, who is a therapist, licensed therapist, has her own business, and she's been giving us a lot of knowledge and everything. So tell us any experience that you've had, with some form of mental illness. Tell us a little bit about where you work, what you deal with on a daily basis.
Well, I don't deal with them daily, but working in a rec center, you get that. You get it from the participants that come. You get it from people off the street. You get it. I mean, you just get it from all over. And I've been subject to mental illness. One of my coworkers, he passed away maybe 2 years ago, and he had a daughter, and that was his only child, and she has mental illness, and he passed away, and she's like just by herself. She's just out there by herself. So, that touches my heart. So I made it a mission for me to learn more about mental illness, especially with our youth and our young adults. I just scheduled a class with 50 of my staff to be trained in youth mental health.
Okay, that's good.
So it's very important. It's serious and it's out there.
Yes. And we have to have, it's good to get that training because, they'll know how to deal with the situation when it comes a hand,
Yes.
So with that being said, we also have we have our co-host Fast Lane that then entered the building. Welcome.
Welcome, Fast Lane.
We have the therapist, Mrs. Jan, on. She has been giving us a lot of good information. So welcome in and, hey, jump in the conversation. Hey.
Yes, well, I want to start off by saying I apologize for being late, but it was only because of business.
All right
I'm a
now.
businessman.
All right now.
But I'm here. I'm in the flesh, and it's a blessing.
All right now. All right.
And you made it safe. That's what counts.
That's what counts. That's what counts.
Yeah. So, Fast Lane, I know you just jumping in, so we'll give you a moment to kind of think about it. But you know what our topic is that we're discussing. If you are ready, do you have any views that you would like to, get started with or share?
Well, no, I want
to
listen. I'm more of a listener.
Okay.
Catch me up.
Do you all know they said in 2021, they said that over 48,000 Americans died just from suicide, and a lot of those were kids. And that's sad. A lot of people don't have this awareness because, for one, they don't take the time out to read. They don't look at the news. They don't try to, they don't get involved. And, we have to start getting involved because that's the only way that we're going to be able to recognize when there's something going on that our children is facing, because that brings on mental, things that we go through in life that we reflect on our children. So we have to really watch what we're doing, how we're doing it. We got to watch what we're saying to our children, because these kids of today, baby, they was born knowing.
And one thing we got to do is stop dumbing our kids down. Our kids are born smart. We make them dumb, and then we have to teach them again. So with that being said, we have to learn how to feel our kids and really feel our kids. See, our kids are being taught from so many different angles that we don't even recognize when they're going through something, because we allow them to be pacified by other information. You know what I mean? So we got to learn how to feel our kids out. You know what I mean? We got to know, even ourselves, you know what I mean? We got to know when certain things ain't right with ourselves, and that's knowing ourselves. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yep. You're right. You are so right. And that was something that, we were kind of touching bases on before it is that you had joined Fast Lane, just to kind of, I have a touching story, and Jan knows Tyree. Okay. So, I have a touching story with, just dealing with, and that's the reason why I asked Jan. We all sat on my balcony at my apartment complex and was talking about what it was that Tyree was going through, and, just hearing some of what it was that, she's dealt with herself. Mm-hmm. But I, as a mother, like I stated, I didn't want to recognize it, didn't want to realize it. All I thought about was, he just acting out. He just rebelling, because it is that things didn't go his way. So now this is what it is that, he's going through, and he inflicting this on me, and, all of this stuff. But to my ignorance, not paying attention or even questioning what was going on caused, for a moment, the lacking. But I do thank God that I was made aware, I was woke up, and I started getting him help, and he also wanted that help too. He eventually wanted that help, so he got help for himself. So we have to educate ourselves, and that really opened my eyes for me to start looking into it, researching it, seeing what it is. How can I help my son go through what a lot of people would say to me, honey, with him dealing with that schizophrenia, you're going to have to deal with him on the outside of your house. I had doctors tell me that. How can you tell me to deal with my son outside of my house? That's my son. I birthed him.
Right. And that major thing what you just said, that's your son. And as people, we have to know, like, we gotta know our kids. So when our kids are shifting and they feeling different, or they sometimes we communicate without saying nothing. And our kids, like, they actions, how they moving around the house, how they pulling from you, how they not talking to you no more. All that play a part, and we can't brush that off. You know what I mean? We gotta know what we know and quit second guessing ourselves, because as parents, like my mama always said, I could feel when something wrong with you. Now, that first thought was God telling her something wrong with your baby. Now, the second thought is that devil throwing her off with, oh, well, no, he all right, he's just mad. Well, why is he mad? You know what I mean? That all play a part. Or why he's not doing his usual. His routines change. You know what I mean? And that's what I come to realize. Like, I pay close attention, and I understand what she meant by that now, because now that I have children, like, they be like, Daddy, how did you know that? Like this and that. Because I could feel your energy. Energy is real. So I feel my child feeling down, or I feel them like something bothering them, or I see you over here looking puzzled. And we got to tap into that. We can't keep walking away like, oh, he'll be all right. See, that's a mind state. See, that, to me, that's a comp out. He'll be all right. But see, I'm one of those parents now that I gets on their nerves, because I realized the ones that was getting on my nerves, them was the ones that was really showing me love. You know what I mean? And they probably was helping me through things and they didn't even know it. You know what I'm saying? Because as kids, we don't be quick to express ourselves. So we gotta know the people around us. We gotta know the energy around us, because they is a part of us, and they give us signs even if they don't say it out their mouth. Exactly. Because we gotta learn how to communicate without verbally communicating at times. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is they laying around all day? Why they not doing what they usually do? They was active, now they not active. What took you out of your zone? You know what I mean? Was it conversations? Was it the people you around? You know what I mean? That play a major part. So, you know, like, our kids get to showing us certain things, and we got to pay attention to it. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't know who they're being exposed to. You know what I mean? Who they're around when they're away from us. You know?
That's right. Absolutely. You are so right. So, Miss Jan, what else? I mean, what would you say in reference to, I'll say, institutionalizing someone with mental illness versus them being out in the world, being able to socialize still and get that help and that support? We know that it's not there for everybody. A lot of people don't have family members that's willing to provide that support and help. But what do you feel about institutionalization? I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, just like schools, school to prison pipelines, hospital to prison pipelines, street to hospital pipelines, they're all institutions that creates that thing, institutionalizing. Right. So as much as possible, that's another thing the young lady on the radio station was saying. We have to get back to the basics. We wanted to step forward into this new world and be different from our parents and our grandparents. They knew everything about us. Wow. They knew everything about us. We couldn't hide. And like the young guy was just saying, it's in your energies and how you're acting, it's how you're changing. We have to go back to the basic and start support. It was a time when no matter how crazy your uncle was, he was in the basement. He was in the basement.
Yes,
he was on the third floor.
Yes.
You know, and they be like, don't go on that third floor messing with so-and-so, because you already know he gonna pop out. You know, so we got to get back to supporting in the family setting, in the community setting, because hospitals, just like jails, are paid by the feds to hold a body. They don't care no more about helping you. They care about holding you so they can make their money. Just like the jail get that $300-something a day, the hospital get that $300-something a day.
Right.
You leave your home with mild mental health. You go to the hospital and come out with worse mental health.
Okay. All right now. All right.
Real sick people. And these real sick people, just like in jail, teaching you more tricks of the trade, teaching you more crazy on top of the crazy, teaching you how not to take your medication, teaching you how to fake like you took your medication, teaching you how to kill in these hospitals. I work in these hospitals. I've been in everyone. I was right hand to the people that closed one of these mental health hospitals down here. They was imprisoning people, taking their life away from them for something that they could have been out in 30 days. It's 10 years later. You got this person. You're holding them. So institutionalizing is just another form of imprisonment. And once you get in prison, you know what we say about niggas that stay in prison. You institutionalize.
That's right.
It's the same concept. But we got to understand that, you know, there's not so much something wrong with our community, something happened to our community.
Yes.
And so now we trying to rebound from the crack pandemic. So most of the kids that was running around in the late 90s and all the 2000s were crack babies. So you got mental health starting all the way from the bottom. The parents need mental health help. So this is what happens to me. I tell mothers here all the time, the little girls with the orange hair and the nails so long, running on me with the pop in the hands, don't let the business suit fool you. I'm straight from the streets of St. Louis, sweetheart.
Okay.
You the one that needs the therapy. The child is adapting to his surroundings.
Yes.
You are the one. You need some help. You have some problems. You're letting TV, the internet, social media, and the streets raise your child while you sit back on your cell phone.
Yes, come on.
If you're on your cell phone all day and at the club all night, who's raising your child?
Exactly.
You have a mental health problem. So if you're not going to let me do this family systems approach, I suggest you find somebody else. Because if I get this baby all these pretty shining coping skills and they come home to the same old raggedy mama,
that's right.
They're going to go
They
right back.
get the same results.
They got to revert back to what they knew how to use to get around you and survive in the house with you because you sick. There's zero consistency in the homes. I tell parents that I'm going to whoop their butt. Listen, I got my butt whooped. I ain't got nothing against butt whoopings, but don't whoop them when you're pissed off and let them get away with everything else.
Come on now. Come on.
Now the child is playing a gambling game to see when you gonna get on them.
They're learning how to manipulate.
She ain't gonna do nothing. Her and her little friends up in the living room on the porch smoking blunts. We can ease out the back, go down the street, do what we want to do. By the time she start looking for us, it's gonna be dark. That's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the daytime. Who's raising your children? The streets are you. You have the mental health problem. So when parents come to me with their kids, I tell them day one, this finna be family therapy, ma'am or sir. I'm not finna work with no child. That child can't tell me what's really going on.
That child
know what's really going on.
Exactly.
What has you depressed? Something has you depressed. Something got you with anxiety. Something got you with low self-esteem. Something got you smoking 3 and 4 and 5 blunts a day. What is it? I have nothing against alcohol. I have nothing against weed, but I do know when kids in the mix is a time and a place for all of it.
Yes, it is. I got to
time for everything.
Yes,
and that's so correct. Everything under the sun. You can't tell me what you can't do and raise your kids, but you can do both of them. Most of the things you do, you need to do after their head has been laid down.
Come on now. Yes.
Period. You can do anything you want.
Like our parents did.
But you got to get your own mental health together.
Exactly.
That's ill people out here trying to raise kids, and they raising their children in the same mental health as they have. But the problem with parents like you and I, Michelle, I also have a son who has severe mental illness, in and out of mental health hospitals and jails and these and that. We do have the exception to the rule. The parents like us that was there, we did everything. We did all those things. But there's things like schizophrenia. It lays dormant in you anyway. You cannot stop a mental illness like that. But most of the mental illness that our community is going through is vicarious bipolar disorder. That
Come on now.
Yes.
They looking at it every day from their parents. They going to see it in the streets, and the teachers are bipolar.
And we have to be careful of the conversations we have.
Your child to go to school and deal with a bipolar teacher, a bipolar principal, and then come home and deal with you and you bipolar. So hell, I may as well become bipolar.
Okay.
So the parents need to get the help.
Because
the adults. In order to get our, grab our children back, then the adults. And we can't be afraid. We cannot be afraid to talk about it or talk through it. Me myself personally, I'm somebody that have personally dealt with that and not wanting to, because I'm gonna tell you, I'm a psychoanalyzer. I'm gonna sit there. If you trying to tell me X, Y, and Z, I already done figured you out. And what you getting ready to tell me, I'd rather go look for it myself and try to find out about myself. But I had to check myself too, because with dealing with Tyree, I didn't know it all. And everything it was that I was doing more shoving it up under the, counter. My baby almost took his life. With that, because he didn't even know how to deal with it. And then he had more common sense than I did when he realized that this was something that he was going through. Something ain't right with me, mama. And he called, to get his own self some help. So, we have to educate ourselves as parents so we can help our loved ones. We can help our loved ones. We most definitely can. I'm a living witness. We can help.
Yeah.
Well, a major way of helping is like we have to balance out our emotions and our love and know that it's a cause and a duty needed. Yes. No matter how much I love you. See, that's that old rule that we was talking about. Our grandmas, they loved us dearly, but she would send us out there to go get that switch when we out of pocket. You play crazy, I'm finna put you back in line with this switch. And if you bring a little one in here, I'm gonna send you back out there. You better bring one that ain't gonna break. You see what I'm saying? So mentally, we start getting our mind right. Yeah. See, certain things that they done took out was necessary. You feel me? Discipline is necessary when you out of line, because in this world, if you get out of pocket, they're going to discipline you. Yes, so when we teach our kids to play crazy, they learn to play crazy. And I'm not calling nobody crazy, but I'm talking about as far as their reactions. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't understand. Like I'm not sure of what you're saying. So those that got like mental health issues, they probably lacking in one thing, but they probably got gifts in others. So we can never look at them like they don't know what they talking about. We just got to know how to feel them out and get an understanding. It's about communicating, like putting our feelings to the side and knowing how to tap into them. Like I can't talk to you directly, but I could probably sit in a room with you, or we might could go to the park and you might want to start expressing other things to me, like picking up this leaf or picking up this flower, and then you start expressing yourself. Because one thing we got to realize, everybody is individuals. You know what I mean? And that's the gift he gave us. He made us all different. So even those that have different illnesses, their body chemistry is made up different. So some of them react different. Some of them heal faster. Some of them heal slower. But we got to know our people that we around, no matter what's the cause. Some people can act like they sane and they straight crazy, as far as insane, as far as the way they see life. You know what I'm saying? So it still goes back to us filling out our people. Some people talk different languages, but we still can say the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So even with children that's going through the things they're going through, it plays a major part of how we teach them how to deal with this life we live in. And it goes back to knowing they self. Some of them are confused about who they is. Some of them have gifts, and those gifts can scare you. You know what I mean? Some of them gifts can make you think you're hearing things when really you are hearing things. Don't think it's just us. The spirit world is real just as well as the physical. You know what I mean? So that's tapping on a whole nother level. But see, when you're dealing with these children, they might be more tapped into the spirit than the physical. That's why they not worried about their appearance, or they, you know what I mean? Like they say, you could go to a crazy man and he might give you a gift. You never know. That's why they say be careful when you're entertaining strangers. Well, just as well as these children or these adults that's going through these mental illnesses, they have gifts too. So we got to learn how to be able to communicate with them. You know what I'm saying? Communication is everything. And being able to communicate, sometimes you have to put your feelings to the side to be able to take in. Like, I could talk to you, but if you ain't taking in what I'm saying, then we just back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's even dealing with them. Okay, well, you might communicate with them, but you might be talking over their head. So now you got to come down to their level. They might want to just deal with some colors. You know what I'm saying? And that's just like, we have to learn how to reach each other. You know what I'm saying? Even those that's going through different things. It's people act like they normal and they mind might be in a whole nother world. You know what I'm saying? Because some things we call normal, other people's call crazy. Some people that we call crazy, they're wise. They know things that other people don't know. You know what I mean? That's just like, okay, as my nephew, like you said, you went through what you went through. But I noticed, like, at times when he was going through what he was going through, he was tapped into a different dimension. It's just the world we was in at that moment, we wasn't ready. And I'm not saying that to say it wasn't something going on. What I'm saying is, though, while we was thinking he was somewhere else, like while we was thinking he wasn't in control of his mind, he was receiving other information. You feel me? So we have to learn, okay, well, he receiving this information, so I got to get on his level to reach him. You know what I mean? To get his attention. Mm-hmm. So when I give him what I want to give him, he will receive it. You know what I mean? And it's all about getting on each other's level, for starters. And when I say that, at home, our children, we allow them to be on our levels when they're supposed to be. You know what I mean? And then they dealing with all kind of issues they should never be dealing with. Exactly. And our grandma and our mothers always taught us adult business is adult business. And child business. Children can't sit amongst adult business. You know what I mean? When we talking grown folk talk, They don't need to be listening.
And
you know what I mean?
These kids of the day, when you talking, baby, they gonna jump right in your conversation and finish what you was saying before you even get a chance to.
So it go back to us as adults. You know what I mean? Like we sit up and talk about all kind of crazy mess. You know what I mean? People pass crazy on to crazy, and before you know it, you pass it to your children. And then we wonder why they reacting like they reacting. Because they got a lot of information in their head that they can't even control. You know what I'm saying? Because we have taught them to think like this. And then we go and mark them and say they mentally ill.
Or bad.
But do we realize we was the sickness? You know what I mean? We play a major part of that, because as we shaping these children along this journey, you know what I mean? You supposed to fill them out. And you know what I mean? And if you see certain things, then we have to address them, because we they first diagnostic. We got to be the ones that tell them, like, hey, like something kind of off, or something's bothering you, or when you walk like that, is your leg hurting or something? Or, you know what I mean? When you think like that, what made you think like that? You know what I mean? That goes back to us. You know what I mean? Like, we quick to pass the torch so much. You know what I mean? As far as reasons. But it goes back to us. We know where we start losing our children, because we in the house. Whether we're not there or we there, we realize when we lose them. You know what I mean? So this it comes down to this. Like when they say real, we got to be real with ourselves first. You know what I mean? We got to do some self-evaluating. You know what I mean? Like, even some people mourn different. Some people sit around and teach our children how to be weak about things that they supposed to be strong for. We teach our children our own weaknesses. You know what I mean? We pass our own negative energies, things that we think is right. We teach them that, and then they become confused, because it's a certain thing inside of them where it tells us all right and from wrong. You know what I mean? We feel those certain things. So we got to learn to start controlling ourselves and our emotions when we pass it on to these children, because they dealing with so many different emotions. You know what I mean? They not sure what they feeling. And that'll make you feel crazy when you ain't sure what you feeling.
Right.
Right.
You know
and
what's so
really
crazy?
Stop letting these people put our kids in special education.
Yes.
That's
I
one
don't
part.
And put them on that
Wow.
Ritalin.
And that medicine.
What that ain't
Wow.
nothing but crystal methamphetamine.
Come
Yes.
on now.
Let me tell you something.
Wow.
Our parents didn't care nothing about no special education.
Okay.
Special education wasn't even popular. It wasn't even popular when I was in school.
Okay.
You didn't even know when you saw special ed kids when we was in school, they were truly special
Yes.
children.
They had
They
illness.
were special children with special needs. If these teachers call you and tell you that they can't get little Johnny to sit down and do his schoolwork, like the young brother just said, sit down and evaluate yourself and see what you're not doing. Do you have that 3-hour homework break? Yeah, it's hard, but you chose to be a parent.
Okay.
You know, ain't nothing wrong with making a lasagna that'll last 2 or 3 days, so you can spend 2 or 3 hours doing homework with little Johnny in the evenings. What happened to teaching your kids their colors when they're 1 and 2 and 3 years old? So when they enter the school system, they already know how to write their name. They already know their colors. They already know their numbers up to 20 or 100. Sit down with little Johnny in the evenings and don't turn that TV on and you hit on that cell phone. It's time for quiet in the house. You have your 20 minutes, 30 minutes for a snack and relax. We get into this kitchen table. We're going to do homework till dinner time. We're going to eat dinner. If you ain't finished, we back to this table. You laid on your back and had a human being. Why do you want the human being to not be nothing?
Right.
Exactly.
Really think about that. We really, in this community, have to think about what kind of person that I'm finna produce.
Right.
Special ed is finna produce a true retard, because what they doing is sitting them in the classroom and forgetting about them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why would you just? I'll say, well, little Johnny gonna repeat the first grade, but he ain't going to special ed.
Exactly.
Now I'd rather my son graduate at 19 than to get a certificate of attendance
Okay.
that you can take notes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And
So
that's true.
we got a school full of special ed kids that ain't never been special ed. They just have not been led by their parents.
Right. Yep.
So
Absolutely.
again, if you as a mother and a father feel like the young lady was talking about earlier, like I was telling you guys, if you feel like it's too exhausting to do that job when them kids come home, you might need to talk to somebody.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
You might need to talk to
You
somebody.
might
If
need to
your
talk to
evenings are
somebody.
not dedicated to your children, I did everything under the sun, and I tell everybody that I party, I do everything I want to do, but when I do it, when I start, my children's head is laid on that pillow, and they are dead asleep, and I know they're asleep, and then I might take it to the back porch. I might take it to the backyard. I'm coming in every 20 minutes checking on my kids. I'm doing everything. But I done been at that table with my kids all evening. So my playtime start when they go to sleep.
Exactly.
Now you know he done went to bed. He done had an hour or two of reading. He done had an hour or two of math. He got all his homework complete. You done looked over it. You done showed him where he went wrong. It's a full-time job to be a parent. People. And if you feel like you can't do it and it's hard, you might need to talk to somebody.
You might. Or better yet, you might need to just stop having kids, you know?
But people out here so mentally ill.
Yes.
We running around here pretending to be normal. You know, it's so many people running around here, you know, presenting themselves. I can look on Facebook and look at your Facebook page and tell if you got mental illness.
Because you're so busy talking about things.
How you telling me you got a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old and you done spent 6 consecutive hours on Instagram?
Right.
You ain't no mother. You a daycare.
Exactly.
And I wouldn't even send my child to that daycare.
Right. And you ain't even a daycare because daycares teach your kids something. We have a bunch of mentally ill people running around here raising kids.
We do.
Yes.
They
really
need help. If it's too much, you need to talk to somebody.
You know what? And that's so crazy because it goes back to, you know, when you were saying we need to get back to the basics. We need to get back to old school. I had a meeting with, and Shell knows, Miss Meek knows, I had a meeting the other day with 17 young ladies, well, adults, my cheerleading coaches. And I know I listen to sometimes how they raise their voices at the kids and scream and holler. I had to pull them to the side and have a meeting with them. I said, do you understand? Have you asked any of these kids, did they eat today? Right. I said, did you ask one of these kids, how you feeling today? I said, did you ask one of these kids, did they have a shower today? I said, you don't know what these kids are going through when they get to us.
Exactly.
I said, so I think is we have to be mentors, parents, grandparents. Yes. We have to make sure we take these kids and cover them.
Yeah.
Cover
That's
them.
right.
I mean, I was like, you know, I see this a lot coming in and out these rec centers, these kids with mental illnesses. And I say, you never know. I said, you have to listen to these kids, sometimes ask questions.
Yes.
To see where their mental state is. Because you just don't know. Yeah. And like Fast Lane said, you don't know what these kids are going through.
Exactly.
You can look at a kid. I can walk up to a kid and say and see something is not right. Something is not right. So again, us as parents, mentors, mamas, daddies, we need to step up and see what the problem is and do research. Like you said, we need to research.
Yeah.
Because it play a major part of a lot of like the time these kids were spending. You know, look at our kids spend a lot of time on these games. You know what I'm saying? They spend more time on these games than they do sitting talking with us. To the point where now, when you get in the car with them, they on their phone playing their games or on their phone on social media or wherever it is. So even when you're having dinner with them, they sitting up in their phone. Now see, like how we was raised, that'll be real disrespectful to be sitting at the table on your phone. But see, like I learned something that along this journey, we learn how to find ourselves. And when we find ourselves, we tend to change certain things and certain things we keep. You know what I mean? And one thing I realized when they said like our grandmothers was a certain way, our grandfathers and the elderly, it's certain things that they was passing down that was meant for us to keep. You feel me? Like our discipline. Certain conversations, certain ways that they would listen to us. They would take time out and take us out in that yard with them while they doing what they doing. Like our grandma said, the house don't change for the kids adapt to their environment. You feel me? So while they in the backyard planting or gardening or whatever, we had to be out there. Even though it felt boring, we enjoyed those moments because once the moments left, we remembered them and appreciated them. You see what I'm saying? Now the moments we sharing with these kids is whatever the TV is doing or whatever the phone is doing. It's not what's right in front of them. So they losing their instincts of awareness. They losing their instincts on how to soak up what's in front of them. They pick up what they want to pick up. Like I was talking to my kids and I realized they sitting up watching on YouTube some other kids playing. To me, that's what you call crazy. Like, we enjoyed playing as kids.
Exactly.
But now our kids enjoy just sitting on their phone
Watching
watching
somebody
other
else
kids
play.
playing.
Yeah.
That tell you where we at as parents. How can
Exactly.
you steady pull up that program for your kids to sit and watch another kid play?
Instead of
tells
letting
you
them
Let
play.
your babies go.
Well, you
Now,
know
if
what?
that ain't going back to the parents, because who pulled it up the first time when they realized, oh, I could watch another kid play and enjoy
Exactly.
this, and they'll
You
sit
know-
there for hours watching it.
I hate to cut y'all off. It always get good, but you know we at that time where it's about to end. But
No, we're
y'all-
not in it today. I'm finna get real crazy. We just getting started.
Hey, listen, y'all
on the
tune
road.
in because we are doing mental health all month.
Yeah.
All month long, we are doing mental health. And you all, whenever you can, support. Wear a little green. Just wear a little green. It
Yes.
ain't always just St. Patrick's Day. We are supporting. We are supporting mental health.
Yes.
For real. We laughing because laughter is good for your soul.
Yes.
And laughter can also bring you joy.
Yeah.
So we are real serious about this. But tune in every Friday. We on this mental health. If you have something that you want to talk about, call us. We promise we will talk back. You can always call in 515-599-1687. We finna wrap this up, but I would like to hear last thing from Mrs. Jan, and we would also like to thank you for coming in and taking time out of your schedule.
Thank you. And I would love to come back on the show one day this month with some actual techniques, basic things
Yes.
that we can do to start working on our mental health ourselves if we feel like we don't have
right now.
insurance or access or the courage to go out and get that help. I want to come on the show and drop some dimes that you guys
right
can
now.
really use in everyday life to help yourself. But in the meantime, as a community, as a culture, it's time to wake up. Take the blinders off. It's the age of Aquarius. It ain't nothing out there we can't find on this internet for self-help with mental health. How to be a better parent. How to stop being angry because I'm a parent. Because a lot of us mad that we parents in the first place. So there's so much out here. So break the silence. Build the awareness. Awaken to your higher self.
I can't wait to take this class and share this information
All right
with
now.
you, Ms.
All right
Jan.
now.
Yes.
We also would like to thank our other guest, Miss Dana. She's always coming through, supporting. We'd like to thank you again.
Anytime.
We don't really have much time for Miss Mink and Mr. Fast Lane to say too much, so make it quick. Make it quick. We gotta go.
I would just like to, I ain't thinking about her, but I would just like to thank Jan, most definitely. And Jan, we will have you back on because, it's all about expertise and, as well as us educating ourselves. You always need somebody else that knows just maybe a little bit something different or a little bit more. So we really appreciate you. Thank you. We're going to get you back on. Most definitely, I'll reach out to you and let you know, see what your schedule is like to bring you back this month during this time. But thank you, Dane. We really appreciate you always coming through for us and being there. Hey, you my sis too.
Yes, sis.
So thank you for coming in. Fast Lane, get yourself to that studio sooner. Next time.
Don't
Yes,
do my
ma'am.
brother.
Yes,
Goodbye.
ma'am. I'm in the
Thank you
building.
all for tuning in. Love y'all. Till next Friday.
Bye,
Good
sis.
night. Like I said, good night,
Three
everyone.
victims, one a woman who died